Over 2 million people suffer from end-stage renal disease, or ESRD, worldwide. 750,000 in the United States alone. In the US, ESRD accounts for $34 billion in spending from Medicare to cover less than 1% of the covered population. ESRD is a life-threatening condition that must be treated. The options for survival are 1. Dialysis. 2. Transplantation. Chronic kidney disease, or CKD, is a condition where the kidneys are failing over time. Ultimately, CKD leads to end-stage renal failure. The overall prevalence in the US, the number of ESRD prevalent cases, continues to rise by about 20,000 cases per year. What is dialysis? Mechanical treatment to filter wastes in water from the blood when kidneys can no longer perform this function. The goals of dialysis are 1. To achieve clearance of toxins and that which is normally eliminated by the kidneys. 2. To maintain water balance. The two main forms of dialysis are: in the US, intermittent hemodialysis is the choice for over 90% of patients. Currently, these patients need to travel to dialysis centers 3 times per week for 3 to 4 hours per day for treatment. For dialysis to take place, patients need to have an arm shunt surgically created. This is called an AV graft or an AV fistula, or have a catheter placed in their neck or groin. Dialysis requires accessing the patient's blood flow through the arm shunt for long periods of time, and this process must be repeated multiple times per week. This presents a significant risk for severe infection. In addition to infections, many patients will also suffer from other complications, such as pain and blockages of their arm shunt. Because high levels of toxins like urea in the blood make these patients more susceptible. Repeated shunt failures reduce further options for the medical team to place new shunts. Therefore, each shunt failure makes the patient more vulnerable to toxicities and severe life-threatening complications. In addition to the challenges discussed, patients on dialysis often complain of severe pain, tiredness, depression, sleep problems, and are more susceptible to heart conditions, stroke, and mental health issues. We have talked about hemodialysis. There is another option called peritoneal dialysis, or PD for short. Less than 10% of patients choose this option. PD is performed at home 3 to 5 times per day or throughout the entire night while the patient is sleeping. PD patients are susceptible to infection and sepsis from the catheter that is implanted into their abdomen. When an infection happens, PD must be immediately stopped and the patient converted to more traditional hemodialysis using a catheter in the neck. PD is associated with a high risk of infection of the peritoneum, subcutaneous tunnel, and the catheter exit site. Peritoneal dialysis patients can suffer an average of 2 to 3 episodes of infection in any given year. Peritonitis is a life-threatening condition that can occur in PD patients. 5% of PD patients die when they develop an episode of peritonitis. Peritonitis is a cofactor for mortality in another 16% of affected PD patients. Individuals on dialysis have a 1 in 3 chance of death in the first 2 years of starting dialysis, and a 5-year survival rate of only 35%. The Nephrodite team has created a new way to bring back independence to patients with kidney failure. Holly, a surgical device that brings freedom and mobility to dialysis patients. www.nephrodite.com